Oh man, what a summer it has been. Summer 2020, the COVID summer. I'm not even gonna lie to you, like, seeing Tory Lanez from when I did the review of New Toronto 3 about 6 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, whenever, like, to him blowing up on quarantine radio and, you know, having one of the biggest Instagram live sessions before obviously 6ix9ine took over, and then I think some Turkish group took over that, to Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion from a couple of months ago becoming one of the biggest Scooby-Doo mysteries of the summer. We went from knowing that Megan Thee Stallion had been shot to Tory Lanez not being a part of it at all, to then obviously Megan Thee Stallion then going on live going at Tory Lanez, to Tory Lanez being very, very silent and not really saying anything too much, which I'm not gonna lie, in these situations, when you don't say anything, it makes you seem guilty, even if you aren't. So as I was doing my daily scrolls on a Friday, you know what I mean, as I was gearing up to do a review for you guys, because I know it's been a minute since we did the Nines one, which was about 3 weeks ago, so apologies on that one. I see Tory Lanez drops this thing called Daystar. Now, for those who don't know, Daystar is his actual name. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be one of them ones where, take me as I am. I apologize. I'm sorry. And I'm thinking, big man, you're dropping an album to tell everyone that you're sorry for doing what you did. It's not that long, or is it not that deep? Anyway, I see this is an album. I checked the runtime, an hour and about 9 minutes. We can just round up to an hour and 10. Over an hour, I'm like, yo, it probably would have been better for you just to drop a single and keep it moving. You know what I mean? Like Chris Brown did Please Don't Judge Me over 10 years, maybe about just under 10 years ago now. And other people have done Sorry and all these types of songs, but an album, I mean, this is looking a bit like Usher and Confessions, when he basically did what he did and then he came out and explained the story and kind of, he felt the justice afterwards. So that was my initial thoughts going into this tape. You know, I thought it was going to be a situation where man's going to be coming on that reconciliation, the please don't judge me, I know I messed up. But ladies, gentlemen, everyone else, I'm not going to lie to you, I was wrong. So we're about to get into this review, Tory Lanez Daystar. I'm about to break this one down for you guys because I've actually just finished listening to the tape and I had enough stuff I wanted to talk about. So let's get into this review. With these types of albums, it's always important and it's interesting to see how the artist is gonna step into the tape. So when I heard all the news coverage and the media coverage from the first song, he comes from the standpoint that, yo, all you man are crazy, yeah? You're only hearing one side of the story. You know, he comes out directly and says, it wasn't me. I didn't actually do this. And he speaks about cancel culture. He has notable sound bites from The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God. You've got Ebro in there. I'm pretty sure I heard maybe a little bit of Joe Budden in there. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that one specifically. But there was a lot of stuff going on in this. And I think the best part and what was interesting about the song itself was that he says what a lot of people have been asking, and a lot of the holes that have been plugged in for the whole incident with the shooting of the foot Megan Thee Stallion, because he's saying, you know, how did no bones get broken, all this type of stuff. He actively comes out and says, it wasn't me. He did a shaggy on everyone, you know, and he airs out his frustrations about, you know, the birthday. I think it was on Tory Lanez's actual birthday, which was, I think, last month. I think it was in August, if not whenever it was, where Megan Thee Stallion actually went on live and kind of was going on a rant, and people were backing it, and everyone was like, oh, it's Tory Lanez's birthday, so therefore it's another reason why. And he's basically refuting all of that. And he also has a kind of few choice words for Kehlani and some of her actions and how she handled, you know, hearing the news. But we're going to talk about that situation a little bit later. But on this energetic and kind of bounce beat that we get from Tory Lanez, we get the current and consistent themes of how this Daystar tape is gonna roll out. You know, he's talking about the industry switching up on him. He's independent now. It's a different vibe. We get a lot of those themes. I'm gonna kind of come up and speak about that a little bit more throughout this review. But we see here, this is the whole tape basically. That Money Over Fallout song is the theme that is very cohesive and consistent throughout the whole tape. People switched up on him, he didn't do it, and this is his side of the story. Friends Become Strangers, which was track number 3, talks about Megan Thee Stallion's team, you know, not handling this situation well. There's a few choice words for Rock Nation later on the tape as well, saying he was mad at the way they handled it. That was his friend And you know, like as we go throughout further on the tape, you see they were more than friends, which I think most people were alluding to. And I think earlier on this year, we kept seeing them in each other's Instagram lives and stuff. So you could see there was definitely like a cozy up period between them. And the Friends Become Strangers song kind of just goes off and follows that like notion for everyone to see for themselves. Again, it was another one where he's saying, yo, something did happen. You know, something did happen between him and Megan, but it wasn't a shooting. And I think it's important to realize that for the last 2 to 3 months since this incident, which I can't remember what month it was because it always been on the news, it's gone quiet, it's come up again, it's gone quiet, and then this dropped, so it's going to be big again. We've only heard Megan's side of the story. We've had everyone comment from one side. We're now getting a chance to hear it from Tory Lanez' side. Music is the language and the way you want to convey your thoughts and opinions, fair enough. But I do like this tape, bear in mind. But I just feel like it took so long to get here that people had already made their minds up way before this album had come out. But the song that has wowed me the most, the most, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing, was Sorry, But I Had To. When I was listening to the song, at the same time, I'm vibing to the tracks, I'm enjoying it. I'm actually intrigued and interested to hear what Tory had to say. Well, he said a lot in this one. He referred to some rappers as some little juju rappers who ain't got no accomplishments, all talking about him. And then we had the Chance the Rapper bar, which was kind of mad still, because man just went Chance the Rapper. Irrelevant. Man scoffed. How dare you scoff on the record? You know, I'm not even mad at him calling Chance the Rapper irrelevant, because Chance the Rapper had a bad year last year, but he's not irrelevant. It was more the scoff. Man did a scoff on a song. It's outrageous. Throughout the song, which is just a non-stop onslaught into the whole scene and people that he was considered his friends or people that he vibed with who switched up on him, called Jojo a bozo. Yeah, like, and again, Jojo, bozo, we know it rhymes, but it just hit different. You know, like, it's deep, because I'm not calling Jojo a bozo. I'm not saying I agree with anything that Tory is saying on the record about other artists, but I'm just saying that simple but effective rhyming scheme, it just made me laugh, innit? I was just like, yo, I should have done a reaction to that bit, but it was hilarious. But the reason being why he goes at Jojo and he goes at all the other people is because of the reactions and stuff they've said. Jojo had a couple of words to say on him on Twitter. Jojo actually took his verse off the deluxe but kept it on the original, which he mentions later on in the album as well. But for me, this is my favorite song on the album, and like I said, I'm looking at this from a musical perspective, so I'm not gonna be picking sides, Tory or Megan, because it's not that deep for me like that. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is not my life. I'm just listening to the music. But for song wise and why the bars are so poignant, sharp, straight to the point, it was the best song for me on this tape. I think the one scheme that I don't think works for Tory on the record was using Chris Brown and saying like people still get a Chris Brown, etc, etc, because the difference between Chris Brown and Tory Lanez in this situation is Chris Brown did it, admitted it, and said sorry, and yeah, people still get him now for doing so. But Tory, you're saying you didn't do it, and you're using him as the thing. So I see where he went with it. I'm just saying maybe he shouldn't have used that Chris Brown example, because I'm a person that I don't really go into cancel culture and all that stuff, but I know there will be some people that will, you know, will be out here being like, well, look, there you go, you said that now, so blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, you've just caused more drama for yourself. And then off the back of going at everybody and moving crazy with it, dumb crazy with it, yeah, he literally just comes up with The Most High, a record where he's basically saying he's doing a Diddy bop because he's innocent, he doesn't care. Everyone was saying, look, where's Tory? Tory said, I'm in Miami, fam, I'm doing my thing, I'm enjoying my life. And yeah, it was a good way to transition from a song where you're going at everyone and saying, listen, you're all fools for believing what you believe and are trying to attack me. I'm out here, I'm living my life, I'm just doing my thing. Yes, I may be laying low, but I'm still about. But I do think the album does start very well. I do enjoy a lot of the cuts from the tape. Even the ones that I don't feel necessarily add anything too crazy on their work. So like What's Culture, Solo Drive Night, and Just Got It Done, I don't really necessarily feel like they add anything too special to the tape, because obviously we know that Daystar, this whole tape is centralized around, you know, him talking about his experience with the whole Megan Thee Stallion case and the backlash from it and etc, etc. So I don't think these songs necessarily add anything too special to the tape, but they were good fillers for the rest of the project. Even something like Look How God Works, which has a bit of an EDM R&B vibe to it, again, sits nicely But even on a normal Tory Lanez album, will probably act as more filler and aren't the songs that are gonna get people going rah or wow or I mean, their reaction was terrible. But you know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. Also, before I forget and we move on, I had to say sorry, but I had to. The song was so mad. Yeah, it goes into a skit, which is like 45-second skit, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, so I ain't gonna try and pretend like I'm gonna say it. But I was like, nah, reload it. I had to reload it again. I had to. There was no way. I had to deep all the stuff that he was saying because it was moving outrageous with it. So yeah, I thought I'd just say that. So that song, that's why I'm saying it's my best song on the tape, just for that reason alone. Queen and Slim, again, was another interesting track because as much as we hear the same thing, the internet laughed at me, wait till you man hear the whole story, you man don't know the whole story. Those themes, like I said, coherent, cohesive throughout the tape. The Queen and Slim track was very interesting because he was showing that Megan Thee Stallion on that night in question was jealous because he was chilling in the pool with Kylie. As much as he has a crush on Kylie, he wasn't going to do anything because he was with you. We're hearing another side of the story, but we're only hearing, but again, you have to take every side of the story with a pinch of salt until the facts are out. Because yeah, Tory is saying, I came out, I was out on bail, none of that stuff because I'm innocent, blah, blah. But we're hearing other things on the night that we might not necessarily hear from Megan. And, the whole jealousy thing might be a case in there to play with. And he's saying he didn't shoot her in the foot. He didn't do that. Yeah, he didn't do that. So we don't know. Again, he's not explaining. Tory Lanez is basically countering what Megan is saying about the whole situation, saying he didn't do it, but he's not also gonna then give out a whole bunch of other information because he does mention in other songs in the past it's an open case. So I ain't gonna talk about the open case like that, but I'm sure eventually we'll find out more. But even in the same song, at the same time, he does talk about wanting to reconcile and actually say, yo, I want to reconcile this. We need to sit there and we need to talk about it. He mentions both their mums, who I believe have both passed away. So, he talks about deeper level stuff and, wants to have a conversation. I think in one of the other songs, he mentions that, yo, like, I thought you would have called me by now because remember, Tory, he's saying he's innocent. So he's saying, right, Megan, you're throwing me under the bus, but, at the same time, you ain't even called me. We ain't even have a dialogue or a conversation. So, and if Tory feels like he's innocent and he's being accused, why would he call the person who's moving mad? He could have. Don't get me wrong, he could have, but why would he? And that's what I'm trying to say, and maybe that's what he's trying to say in this as well. Yeah, when I was listening to Queen and Slim as well, I was thinking, J. Cole would have been sick on this song, J. Cole would have been an absolute vibe on this song. But then I realized Jay-Z, Rock Nation, J. Cole, I don't think that would have happened anytime soon. And I don't think artist, had Tory have put that call in and said, yo, I'm thinking about doing a tape, like, I want to talk about something. I don't think any artist is going to want to jump on that right now because, let's not lie, up until Daystar, and we don't know how it's going to be post because I'm obviously recording this on the Friday, Tory Lanez is still musically a bit of a lead balloon until this case shows that he's innocent. Do you know what I'm saying? If it shows that he's innocent is what I'm trying to say. Bittersweet. Oh my, another one. Bittersweet, fam. Bittersweet. So he's talking about Jojo. I'm talking about Kehlani on these records. And with this song, it's kind of talking about the fact that Kehlani, I remember seeing this at the time, she has a song with Tory called Can I, which was on her album, which came out earlier on this year, I believe. And she took him off it. She took him off the record. And I didn't mind the record as a whole. I didn't really get to the Tory part in the first place. Not saying it was because of what was going on. It's just, I have a DJ mind. So after a minute and a half, I'm like, big man, I'm done with this tune. Next. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was that for that purpose. But he talks about the fact that between Jojo doing a shady move like that, but Kehlani being the first, and Kehlani basically distancing herself from Tory, even though Tory said, fam, I've known you for 6 years. There's a picture of me, or I've held your baby. I've done this stuff. We're actually cool like that. You could have called me. You've got my number. Because of all of that not happening, he was upset and he was, bittersweet about it. And, him and between Kehlani and Jojo, and him amassing 40 million because he cusses Jojo's album big time. He says, listen, you took me off the deluxe. No one cared about your album in the first place. No one cared in the first place. That's what he said. That's not what I'm saying. But those aspects of the record really were like, this is going to make for awkward conversation once everything's reconciled, if it gets reconciled. But besides those main key points, again, it's another song about rants and people getting at him. So he does talk a lot about Black Lives Matter towards the end of the track. He's talking about in one of the records, yo, they don't want a black person to be successful, they don't want black men to be successful, etc, etc, which was a good touch, and I did enjoy hearing that. I just, at the same time, it's like, I don't know the full case of the picture of everything that's going on. So as much as I'm liking your sentiment, like, I'm here just listening to your songs right now, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm trying to hear about, by this point I'm done with it, but I'm trying to hear if there's any little bit of juice left of this Megan Thee Stallion situation, because I ain't gonna lie to you, it did make the album quite interesting. Jokes on Me was like basically saying that he had egg on his face because he was talking about how, you know, he thought that she was the one, but the joke's on him. He thought that she was the one, he told his friends and his family that, and the joke's on him, and he ended up being shagged by her, which was sad. And that's basically the breakdown of what we got from him on that one. And then on one of the last tracks on the tape, Care For You, he then goes at the Shade Room and talks about the fact that, you know, white business powers and superpowers and stuff are creating cancel culture, and, you know, some black people are eating off it. Goes at the Shade Room and talks about how they're, you know, endorsed by a name I can't remember, but I think his name was Brian something, but I can't remember off the top of my head, so don't quote me on that, go listen to the tape. But we again saw Tory kind of becoming a little bit of a vigilante. Now, I'm a person, I have very simple, I care about things, but I don't care about the Shade Room. Do you know what I mean? I don't care about that type of stuff like that. I'm not on Instagram like that all the time. Although you can follow me on Instagram and I'll put it up on the screen right about now. But what I'm trying to say is those things don't wow me or don't do a madness, but I think for those who do, it's a bit more impactful. But yeah, that's Tory Lanez' Daystar. And interesting, very, very interesting. I can't lie to you. It was an album I wasn't expecting. I was only expecting a single, like I said. But to get this was nuts. It was a bit crazy. Like, he goes through, refutes pretty much everything that Megan Thee Stallion is saying. He says, I know something went on, but it ain't what you man think, as in the public and every outlet. He looks at all the friends and the media that switched up on him. He said a lot in this tape. And when I saw that it was an hour and 9 or 7 minutes or however long it was, over an hour, I didn't really have time for it at first. When I looked, I was like, bro, this could be long. But I walked away from a tape that, if, you know, I'm listening to his side of the story for one. I'm not going to say I agree with what he's saying or I disagree with what he's saying, because I'm just listening to his side of the story. But I do think the instrumentation and the beat selection that he chose was good. I think he's become a better rapper in the meantime as well, because remember last year or 2 years ago, he was saying he could out rap anybody. I still don't believe that, but I do believe his rapping ability has got better. And, you know, it was a solid tape. Will this be his best tape? I feel like this is the most enjoyable tape, but maybe because the topic is hot right now. Will I go back and listen to this in 2 years later? I don't know, because making a comparison to Usher and Confessions, Usher had some massive, absolute massive records of Confessions, and I look at that album and I'm like, even if you like, especially for people who were like big TLC fans, even if you disliked Usher before Confessions came out, by the time them tunes were hitting, you didn't care anymore because you liked the tunes. I feel like with these songs, they're more of an attack at the industry, and maybe that's because he's an independent artist now, so he's been able to put himself in a position where he can kind of get at people and not really care too much because he's made a lot of money, and he might continue to make a lot more pending the case. What did you guys think of the album? Let me know. Daystar by Tory Lanez, fam. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this tape, but I enjoyed it. Also, let me know what other projects you want me to review this weekend, because we're back doing a review series. As of me talking to you right now, I'm looking at A$AP Ferg's Floor Seats 2, and I'm thinking I might do something with that. But if you got a suggestion, make sure you leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought about the album and what you want me to review next. But people, that was my Daystar review. I'm gonna love you guys and leave you guys and see you next time for another video. Peace.